Now it's time for Toker Talk Radio, the voice of the marijuana nation.
What are you people? On dope?
Where you can toke.
I inhale frequently.
Or you can talk.
I experimented with marijuana and didn't inhale.
Or you can toke and talk.
10 federal criminal penalties for possession of up to 1 ounce of marijuana.
While we talk about toke on Toker Talk Radio.
So, by the way, when it comes to pot, if you're 40 years old, you live in a log cabin in Oregon, you got 12 giant pot plants in your backyard, have a ball.
Live from beautiful Portland, Oregon at Rolla J Studios.
Hey, this is great. Just not cannabis.
Plus your calls live at 971-533-7111.
They're walking on their pants with their cap on backwards, listening to Enema Man and Snoopy Poop Dog.
What's to keep somebody from getting all potted up on weed and then getting behind the wheel? Gateway theory doesn't work. It's a reality.
Holland, is it real? Don't tease me.
We're locking up people that take a couple of puffs of marijuana, and the next thing you know, they got 10 years.
And now, here's your host, the guru of ganja graphics, the sultan of sativa statistics, and the worst nightmare of a reefer mad prohibitionist. A polite, perspicacious, productive pothead with a propensity for PowerPoint. Radical Russ Belville.
Oh man, I'm stumped on that one. I have no idea. Is that Pango?
That might be, but I think that it was maybe Burger Time.
Burger Time?
I don't know.
That's a tough one. That was Dig Dug? That wasn't Dig Dug.
No, hell no, that wasn't Dig Dug.
We don't know. Anyway, welcome. It's Toker Talk Radio here, live from...
Play it again.
live from Portland, Oregon. We're here at Rolla J Studios, hanging out with Brian the Red.
Hey.
I got some stuff. These are at my store today. So I got this store that's just down the street, Kim's Market. Kim as in Korean last name, not like blonde girl's first name. The Kim family owns it, right? So I go to this store all the time, and it's basically it's a head shop. It's a neighborhood head shop. They got glass, they got pipes, they got bongs, they got hookahs, they got loose leaf tobacco, they got rolling papers, they got blunt wraps, they got
butane,
big boxes of butane cans all over the place, because everybody has to, refill their lighters, I suppose.
Well,
right.
El Torcho Grande.
Torchos, and of course they're making BHO. Come on, not fooling anybody.
Yeah, not fooling nobody.
And just a token amount of like potato chips and candy and stuff, but rarely restocked. So like you have to be careful not to get the stale chips or the stale, sugar
Candy
babies or whatever, right?
And whatnot.
And then a huge, wall of alcohol,
Oh yeah,
beer and cider and wine and malt liquor and stuff. So it's like a head shop. It's like mostly heads are going to shop there. Let's just say that, right? Okay, so at this head shop, I at the front door there's a new poster of this really attractive brunette lady in a green bikini.
Oh, yeah. I've seen the advertisement.
Built in such a way as to properly fill out a green bikini. And she's holding one of these. Cannabis energy drink. And, of course, in her green bikini, the tagline is, "Go for the green cans." I get it, because she's wearing a green bikini. So, anyway, this cannabis energy drink, right? And, of course, says it does not contain THC.
No, because it's a cannabis. It's a hemp powder.
And then here's the mango flavored version, right, of the cannabis energy drink, right? Yeah. And of course the price
hemp seed extract.
The price is 2 cans for $4.20. $4.20. So I got my cannabis energy drink going, so that's good. Also, going back to the Christine Tatum thing, it's just fun. I've called her Crispy Tater before.
Taterhead.
But it's just fascinating to me that, if you're in the right, you will supply your stats. You will be glad to supply your stats.
Yeah, which our folks happily did.
We do it all the time. And I'm even willing to believe that the business is booming at Christian Thurstone's rehab. I'm willing to buy that. But I would like to know some other factors. How many other rehabs are there in the Denver area? Have some closed? Have some been bought out by Thurstone and now been added to his, his empire, I guess. have the new Obamacare regulations, which now cover rehab and cover mental illness more strongly than before, and now allow parents to keep their kids on their insurance until age 26, college age years. Has that led to more parents using insurance to get their kids into rehab for marijuana to avoid a jail problem? We can't know. All we can know is based off her assertions. Oh, the business is booming because of legalization and court referrals are down.
And
okay, prove it.
Take her word for it. We're gonna take your word for it.
Yeah, just prove it.
Yeah, it's like there's plenty of data out there that's public for other businesses.
Yeah,
right. But no. Yeah, and even the anyway.
Christian put on his website he's got all these little marijuana facts that will show up in his
facts.
Yeah, they'll show up in his sidebar. And one of them was he showed a bar graph comparing the average THC tested in the kids that go to his rehab from 2009 compared to now, which I think at the time was 2012, maybe it was 2013. Doesn't matter. A few years later, right? And the bar for the 2009 was like 350 nanograms. And the bar for the 2012 was 512 nanograms or something like that, right? One was over 300, one was over 500. And so, of course, with that was the big scare. Oh, my God! These kids are taking the super potent, ultra mega skunk marijuana, and they're coming in much more stoned than before. My God, they're up to 500 instead of 300. And so Paul Armentano and I at the time, it had to be 2012, Paul Armentano and I are like, this guy isn't saying active THC, is he? Yeah. I mean, that's got to be like metabolite nanograms in a pee test, right? Because 5 nanograms is your stone driving level. 50 nanograms is like, you're pretty stoned at 50. Most people immediately after smoking are going to be at 100. If you're taking a massive dab, maybe 200. So you're saying teenagers are coming in at 500?
That would mean that they would have just had to smoke and be holding it while they're coming into the office.
Well, we'll tell you why that's bunk when we come back.
You're tuned into the Russ Belville Show, the voice of the marijuana nation.
Hey, Tokers and Tokettes, Radical Russ here to introduce you to my friend Matt and all the staff at Lush LED Lighting. Growing plants indoors can be a rewarding hobby, but electricity bills can go through the roof. Then you have to cool down all those big hot lights. It can drive a grower insane. With Lush LED Lighting, you can solve many of these issues and double your rewards. If you thought LEDs were meet the tech of today, Matt and his scientists have developed the perfect light for flowering plants with far less cost and heat. And the results? Let's just say I appear at a lot of events with the masters of indoor horticulture, and the harvests I saw from Lush LED Lighting were big, tight, sticky, and very effective. Check out LushLEDlighting.com right now and tell them Radical Russ sent you. Double your rewards and lower your expenses with Lush LED Lighting. You can get 420 Radio on the go with our Shoutcast stream for all internet-enabled media players. Go to rad-r.us/420shout or just click the Shoutcast icon below the live radio feed at 420radio.org. I'm Radical Russ Belville, and I want to thank you for listening to 420 Radio. We couldn't survive without you and our sponsors, and I'd like you to check out one of our prime sponsors, the National Cannabis Coalition. I've been working with NCC since June of 2012, and I'm proud to be part of the team they have assembled. National Cannabis Coalition is building the partnerships with reformers, lawmakers, and industry we need to be successful. Visit the National Cannabis Coalition website at nationalcannabiscoalition.com or the easier-to-remember NCC420.com.
That's where you'll get the exclusive first look at my radical rants, as well as informative articles from the nation's top cannabis pundits. Visit ncc420.com today, and if you have your phone handy, text Russ to 420-420 to support NCC and 420 Radio. It's a free text message that helps us help you end adult marijuana prohibition. Learn more at ncc420.com, and thanks for supporting independent marijuana legalization public radio.
Welcome back, everyone. 10 after the hour. That's the Separates with Save Me From the Weed. You're listening to Toker Talk Radio here on 420radio.org. Hey, I want to let everyone know watching our video stream that you can get involved and ask questions live while we are here on the show just by going to our chat room. Look right below the live video feed on 420radio.org and you'll see a little gold button that says chat window. That'll open up the chat window for Ustream, and then you just type /login to create a username and password. We got all sorts of regulars that are there, including Baked Baker, High in Hawaii, Jam Band Fan, Roland Reverend, Respect, Trickster Phillips, and Tycomb are all hanging out right now. Plus, you get to meet some of our moderators who can answer some of your questions about 420 Radio, including Grey Wolf, Big Daddy Fink, and Bong Hitter, who are hanging out right now. Check it out. It's the 420radio.org live chat. Visit the chat window button on 420radio.org to visit today. All right, so coming back, we were talking about Christine Tatum and her husband, who asserted that the kids are coming in now at over 500 nanograms of THC. Oh, my God. So I called him on it. I actually put up a comment on his website asking, are you talking about active THC or is this inactive metabolites? Because active THC seems kind of hard to believe. And he said yes. He responded and said, yes, this is active THC. So nobody I know with any knowledge of science that I've asked this about seems to believe this is possible.
It's not.
It's not. I think you'd have to directly inject THC, which is another thing or they fear.
Yeah, or they'd be walking around with a vaporizing respirator.
Yeah.
It's like, I could design a device that could, but,
a little tough.
Chances are they're not doing what I'm thinking.
No. All right, we have some breaking news that just came across about a half hour before we went on the air. We've been following the issue of banking for the legal marijuana businesses, basically how we don't get it. Yeah. We don't get any banking because of the anti-drug money laundering laws. Well, Josh Gerstein out there at Politico.com is reporting that Attorney General Eric Holder is going to announce or just will soon announce regulations that will allow banks to do business with legal marijuana sellers. This was Attorney General Eric Holder who said that just today. He said during an appearance at the University of Virginia's Miller Center, quote, you don't want just huge amount of cash in these places. They want to be able to use the banking system. There's a public safety component to this. Huge amounts of cash, substantial amounts of cash, just lying around with no place for it to be appropriately deposited is something that would worry me just from a law enforcement perspective, end quote. The Departments of Justice and Treasury are working out the agreements that would allow the legal marijuana businesses in Colorado and Washington to make use of banking provisions, banking services. This is really good. Holder says the new regulations were likely to emerge very soon and are not intended to amount to a blessing of marijuana by the federal government. Quote, it is an attempt to deal with a reality that exists in these states, end quote. Holder did not specify if this would only apply to the states that have legalized marijuana, Colorado and Washington, or would it also apply to the states that have legalized it for medicinal use, the other 18 states? We shall see. But this is at Politico.com, and I will post the link in the chat room if anyone wants to read up on the story. But that's our Attorney General basically saying that the bank regulations are on the way.
And thanks to Coleco, who spread that link around so that I could see it and get addressed.
That's right. And, hey, thank everybody who's, I've got a guy, Fulton, who's been emailing me for a while. He'll send me links to stories. We appreciate that. That's part of what 420 Radio is about is, we're covering the marijuana nation. And as much as I spend time reading the news feeds to find news from all over the country and the world, you're going to find it better in your neck of the woods than I'm going to find it. So if you got something, go ahead and send it through our chat room. You can send it through personal messages. You can get it to us through Twitter, our Facebook accounts. We often use the links that we get from our fans to help cover some of these news stories. There's a lot of news out there on marijuana. And as we develop 420 Radio in the coming months, we're also planning on developing more of a news bureau and actually having correspondence from the major pot centers in this country. So we want to have a Seattle correspondent. We've already got Portland covered. We want San Francisco, Los Angeles, Ann Arbor, Michigan, Denver, Colorado, of course.
On-site pot reporters.
Yes, and so it would involve, recording like a 2-minute segment maybe that we would play throughout the show. Working on getting more investment, having all sorts of upgrades to our remote systems. Oh, and by the way, next week, we'll have a interruption in our schedule because on the 29th and 30th, I will be at the Oregon Medical Marijuana Business Conference where I'm delivering a presentation. And then Friday, the 31st, is my birthday. So next week, those 3 days, on the Wednesday and Thursday, we'll bring you live coverage as best we can. And Friday is my birthday. My birthday. So we're going to party like it's my birthday.
Uh-huh.
We probably will not sip Bacardi like it's my birthday.
And we'll probably not be televised.
Well, no, I'll probably have a show.
Maybe
not. I don't know. I think I will.
Maybe.
Probably.
Okay.
All right. And then the following week, the 7th and 8th of February, we have got the High Times Cannabis Cup in San Bernardino that we need to get down to. San Bernardino. So we'll be down there and doing live coverage. And I've already gotten a couple of volunteers who worked with me in San Bernardino last year, and they're going to come back and work with me again this year. So that's pretty cool. I still need to work out a place to stay and a way to get there. So we'll get that all figured out, but we will be there. All right. So looking through the news. Oh, by the way, also, our phone line is 971-533-7111 if you feel like calling in. If you've got any comments, questions, suggestions, you got a topic or anything, let us know.
Yeah. Or if you just got some random shit you want to talk about.
There you go. I made a brief mention of Governor Bobby Jindal down in Louisiana. I didn't add this to the news today, but it's decent news. Bobby Jindal came out in support of medical marijuana if it's tightly controlled. He said at an event, "I continue to be opposed to legalization of marijuana. When it comes to medical marijuana, if there's a legitimate medical need, I'd certainly be open to making it available under very strict supervision for patients that would benefit from that." So he didn't offer much details as far as what kind of medical marijuana he'd support, other than it has to be very restricted. The head of the Louisiana ACLU said that it was a huge change in his stand. Now, a lot of people don't know this, but Louisiana already has a medical marijuana law. Louisiana has a medical marijuana law that was passed in June of 1991. It allows patients that have glaucoma, chemotherapy, or quadriplegia to receive marijuana for therapeutic use. Problem was, it hinged on the Secretary of Health and Hospitals putting out rules and regulations by January 1st, 1992. Those rules and regulations were never finished. So they've got a law. They've got a medical marijuana law. They just need to write the regulations for it. Now, Bobby Jindal's comments came a day after there was a committee hearing on legalizing marijuana and medical marijuana. The committee hearing was standing room only. And now we've got the governor softening his stance just a little bit. So you got Governor Perry in Texas. You got Jindal in Louisiana. You've got decriminalization support coming out in Georgia. You've got medical marijuana gathering steam in Florida. We've got Alabama looking at a CBD only bill. Mississippi, I haven't heard much from yet, but these dominoes are going to fall one by one, even in the South, and especially as people in the South, being more conservative and GOP, tend to support states' rights on this issue. I think we're going to get this passed sooner than you think in the South. So we're going to celebrate that with a little bit of sour lemon.
Indeed.
So thanks for being here. If you got one, light it up. We'll see you in a minute.
Oh, have you ever met that funny reefer man? A reefer man. Have you ever met that funny reefer man? A reefer man. If he said he swam to China, he would sell you South Carolina. Then you know you're talking to that reefer man.
The law offices of Omar Figueroa would like to remind you to stand up for your rights. Please do not give up your precious liberties. There's nothing wrong with standing up for our constitutional rights, and in fact, it's the best way to honor the Constitution that recognizes our natural rights. Treat law enforcement with respect and respect the Constitution by standing up for your rights. If you are detained or arrested, stand up for your rights by repeating, "I respectfully invoke all of my legal and constitutional rights. I do not consent to any search and seizure. I want to remain silent, and I want to speak with my attorney, Omar Figueroa." Omar Figueroa has more than a decade of experience in federal and California courts and graduated from Yale University, Stanford Law School, and Trial Lawyers College. Please contact the law offices of Omar Figueroa at 415-489-0420 or 707-829-0215 or on the web at omarfigueroa.com.
You know Herb Thrasher from the Herb Thrasher Flower Hour. Now get ready for Herb Age Designs for the proud cannabis consumer. Herb Age Designs, lifestyle gear for the 420 friendly. Herb Age Designs, home of the famous lighter leash. Herb Age Designs, get your Herb Age t-shirts and hoodies and show your pride. Herb Age Designs, we've got Frisbee golf discs and durable hemp gear. Herb Age Designs, we've got shot glasses, drinking glasses, coffee mugs, and beer cozies. Check us out on Facebook and online at herbagedesigns.com and follow Herb Age and Herb Thrasher on Twitter. We'll see you at this year's Hemp Fest. Crank it up!
Toker Talk Radio with Radical Russ Belville and Brian the Red. Every weekday at 4 p.m. Pacific Time, 7 p.m. Eastern, and midnight GMT on 420radio.org.
Welcome back. 23 after the hour. Music from Cass Haley. This is Lost.
I don't see like you do. Don't understand the things you do. All these words you say to me that I don't understand. But love, or maybe love, will bridge the gap so I can see just like you in your reality. Don't ask, don't wonder, I won't give up on you, no.
All right, loving that Cass Haley music. We've got a video for you now. Coming to us from CNN, Don Lemon's show, where he just recently had Nick Gillespie from Reason.com debating Partick Kennedy from Project Sam on the legalization of marijuana. So let's go to that video, enjoy a little bit of this debate.
Joining me tonight is the former Congressman Partick Kennedy and editor-in-chief of Reason.com, Nick Gillespie. Congressman, I'm going to go to you. You heard what the president said. You heard what Jim Carney, his defense of what the president said. What do you make of this? But the question, can he put the genie back in the bottle after making those comments?
Of course he can, and his policy is important because, for example, he's been the best president so far on mental health coverage and addiction coverage. And so it's incongruous for his administration to be for a third legalized drug. So we have tobacco, alcohol, and now we would have marijuana.
He didn't necessarily say that he was for the legalization of it. What he was saying was that he doesn't believe he believes it's equally as bad as alcohol.
So the issue here, Don, is the fact it's the permissive environment that leads particularly young people to think that there's no big deal about smoking marijuana, when in fact the marijuana of today is genetically modified. It's multiple times stronger than the marijuana that President Obama...
Wait,
Right.
Genetically modified?
Two times stronger. That's a multiple, I guess. Yeah, genetically modified. You know, like a pug. You know, pugs are genetically modified.
Oh, like a
Dachshund.
like a Siamese?
Like a Siamese cat. Yeah, genetically modified.
Well,
it's called breeding.
Like a purebred Himalayan.
I love how they use the term genetically modified to get you to have that Franken fear that, you know, we're splicing the gene of a bacterium in there or something.
Or splicing the gene of a frog like they do with corn and Monsanto.
This is genetic modification, like breeding a pink rose. That's what it is. I mean, we're just breeding plants here.
Yeah, crossbreeding. It's not modification. It's selective.
Smoked 20, 30 years ago. Yeah. So there are issues here. It is harmful. If the president listened to his own NIH director in charge of drug policy, Nora Volkow, she would tell him this is damaging to emotional growth as well as cognitive growth.
For children whose brains have not developed. And what we're talking about with the president, and if you're talking about this, you're talking about the legalization of marijuana, which would be for adults.
I have no problem with adults in the sense that there's consequences to allowing you and I to have a doobie.
Right.
Okay? And the consequences are that you have a lot of young...
You know.
Oh, I know. I know. The consequences are then young people think it's no big deal. So we ought to not...
We ought to not let adults do things that we want kids to not to do, because if we allow adults to do it, kids will think it's no big deal. You know, things we don't want kids to do, like having sex. We shouldn't have sex anymore as adults, or let kids know that we have sex as adults, because then they'll think sex is okay and they'll want to do it. And of course, we do need to restore alcohol prohibition right this minute, because, you know, since adults are allowed to drink alcohol, that makes kids think that it's okay. Never mind cigarettes. Oh my God, cigarettes need to be prohibited at once, because we don't want kids doing cigarettes. So can't let adults
and
do
prescription drugs. You know, we can't have any kind of prescriptions or painkillers laying around the house. No kind of cough medicine, because that's, you know, that's just going to lead to heavier stuff.
That's right.
Bad influence.
If adults do it, kids will think it's okay. So we have to make all our regulations in the world to deal with how kids would see things.
So no more cheeseburgers.
Yeah, no more cheeseburgers. If they see adults eating cheeseburgers.
Well, they tried to take their full-size sodas, you know.
Speak out of the mouth and act a different way, and that's the problem I have with it.
Yeah, well, I think that's absolutely true. Look, there are consequences to legalization. There are also massive, horrifying consequences to prohibition. We arrest 750,000 people a year for marijuana alone. 90% of those arrests are for simple possession. If you're black, you're 4 times as likely, says the ACLU, to get arrested for simple possession of pot. So to say that the status quo is okay is wrong. This is a terrible, terrible policy to make pot illegal.
I want to read with the president, because the president did weigh on what you're talking about, the incarceration rates for those caught smoking, and he says middle-class kids don't get locked up for smoking pot and poor kids do. The American Civil Liberties Union issued a report last year finding that African Americans are 4 times as likely as whites to be arrested for marijuana despite similar rates of use. That's the point here, don't you think?
So no, that's conflating 2 separate issues. You have the issue of racism within the criminal justice system and the application of all laws, because it's not just marijuana. African Americans are arrested and incarcerated at much higher rates no matter what the offending offense is. And frankly, just like alcohol, you're going to see more arrests, because now you have, just like alcohol, you have the not selling to minors, you have loitering, all these other issues that come with enforcing the lack of selling to young people, because you're going to have to enforce that next.
Are you serious? Can you possibly be serious to say that legalizing the sale of pot to adults is going to increase the amount of arrests for selling of pot to minors.
So I look
it's
at
already
alcohol,
illegal
Nick.
to
Alcohol
sell pot. Wait.
Let him finish, Congressman. Go ahead.
No. Alcohol, and alcohol is a model in the sense that we tried alcohol prohibition. It did not work. What it did is it did stop some people from drinking, and all of the harms associated with drinking got worse under prohibition. Plus, you brought in organized crime and all sorts of corruption of constitutional rights, as well as of law enforcement. The same thing is happening with the war on drugs.
So,
it is time to end that. I'm a parent. I am totally confident that I can say to my kids, you know what, you're underage, you shouldn't be drinking, I'm going to kick your butt if you do, and if you smoke a joint while you're underage, you're also in the doghouse.
So, Congressman,
this is not a complicated
issue.
issue.
The criminal element out of it if you do legalize it and it's available to people who are of age rather than to
So
to
Nick's
kids.
point is you just eliminate the cartels, but if to do that, you need to also legalize cocaine, heroin, methamphetamine.
Why does one lead to the other?
Actually, we're not talking about that, though. We're not talking about that any more than we're saying, we legalize beer, so we have to legalize coke or amphetamine?
Yeah, so marijuana is just one piece. If you're really honestly interested in eliminating cartels, that's the extension of your civil liberties policy.
What I am interested in doing is first and foremost treating American adults like adults who are responsible for what they do with their life. We should criminalize intoxication when you're driving a vehicle, when you're operating heavy machinery, when you're putting the public at risk.
With any kind of drug, right? With any kind of, right?
Yeah, no, that's fine. Treat people as...
But let's get back to this. This is the classic diversionary tactic that the Project Sam people use when we point out that there's prohibition is creating a criminal element that deals with marijuana. They'll come back and they'll say, well, if you want to get rid of the cartels, you'll have to legalize coke and meth, too. Who said we were getting rid of the cartels? Who said legalizing marijuana was getting rid of the cartels? This is the idea that, well, my God, if it's not perfect, we can't do it at all, right? Look, the idea is that marijuana right now being illegal is something only the cartels can deal in. If marijuana is legal, the cartels can't be in that business. It's not a question of whether or not we eliminate the cartels. It's a question of why do we give the cartels all this business? Yes, they will still deal with coke and meth and heroin, but they got to have someone to sell that to. There's 26 million American pot smokers. There's less than 3 million users of all other drugs combined. You can bet that the cartels aren't going to want to see their potential sales drop, their potential customer base drop by a factor of 8 out of 9. They're not going to want to see that at all. And of course, this idea that we legalize marijuana, there's going to be so many more arrests. You heard our Leap guest say that was ludicrous in the first half hour. But yeah, we'll have to enforce underage smoking and licensing and all of that, rather than just arresting and locking up anybody we catch with pot for any reason whatsoever. Sabet likes to bring this up on a slide where he says, well, look, legal alcohol, there's 2.5 million arrests for legal alcohol compared to 750,000 arrests for illegal marijuana. And there's so many more alcohol arrests because it's legal and we have to enforce DUI and underage drinking and public intoxication and all of that. There'd be so many more arrests. Oh. Well, then by that theory, if we prohibit alcohol and make alcohol something for which if we detect even the smell or find the slightest sip of it, we have to arrest you and book you, then there should be fewer than 2.5 million arrests if we prohibited alcohol, right? Despite the fact there's some 60 million people that are drinking it. We would have less than 2.5 million arrests if it were completely prohibited under Kevin Sabet's logic, under Partick Kennedy's logic, that somehow legalizing something leads to more arrests for it. All right, let's finish up with Nick and Patrick.
Adults, and then let it ride after that, because the fact of the matter is that we can have a legal weed industry. It's coming. It's already here in Colorado and Washington State, and that is not what that will do is it will deprive cartels and criminal gangs of a lot of activity. It will also help the Constitution.
Okay, Nick, listen, the public is on the president's side here if we're talking about people who don't think it's...
the president is not on the people's side.
But it's saying more dangerous...
The president has not said
dangerous. Nick, let me get in here. More dangerous for people to use. 73% of people say alcohol. 12% say marijuana. Equally as dangerous. 14%. And should the use of marijuana be legal? 55% of Americans say yes, 44% say no.
So I agree with the president. Alcohol is more dangerous. The problem is, what's he going to do about it, Don?
Yeah.
Can he regulate the liquor industry? I don't think so, Don. The liquor industry is so powerful. There's no way he's going to regulate the sale to minors. They're advertising hard liquor. So the point here, Don, is we don't want to create another big tobacco, another big marijuana like the liquor industry.
Okay, thank you. That's going to have to be the last word.
Come on.
Patrick,
it's time for America to grow up and to do what is right.
And
see, this is the other, if it's not perfect, we have to just avoid it. This thing that they'll never respond to the alcohol part. It's like everything you just said about marijuana is 10 times as bad for alcohol. And he'll even admit, he said, I agree with the president, the alcohol is more harmful, but yeah, good luck trying to regulate the alcohol industry. Well, why not? This is the idea here that, well, gosh, we lost on alcohol. We just have to give up on alcohol. Yeah. Even though it's so much more harmful for society and the user than marijuana ever could be, Kevin Sabet and Partick Kennedy are just giving up on alcohol. We got to give up on that. It's too big. We can't possibly do anything about it. We have to attack marijuana. We have to go after marijuana because it's just, gosh, there's nothing we can do about alcohol. There's no way we can regulate alcohol. There's nothing we can do. Well, except for the fact that we did. I lived through the 1980s, and I remember when the drinking age was 19 in my state. It was 18 in some other states. And guess what happened? President Ronald Reagan twisted the arms of the state legislatures by threatening to withhold their federal highway funds if they didn't adopt a 21 drinking age. So, gosh, it does seem like a president can do something about alcohol, can make some regulations about alcohol. Seems to me also, I remember an activist group called Mothers Against Drunk Driving who campaigned strongly to get the 0.08 blood alcohol standard adopted across the country. It was 0.10 in some places. It was 0.12 in some places. It didn't exist in some places. Mm-hmm. Now, all across the United States, it's not only 0.08 in every state, as far as I'm aware. There are some states that are now discussing lowering that to 0.05. But yeah, gosh, we can't do anything about alcohol. There's such a big industry. There's just no way we could get any popular support to do anything about alcohol. Yeah. Or how about this, Patrick? Y'all think alcohol is just fine. You ain't got a problem with alcohol. I've heard so many of your kind say, well, people drink alcohol to be social, but they use marijuana to get high. So we're not buying it, Patrick. Another person we're not buying, Nancy Grace. Apparently, our good friend Norm Kent is becoming the go-to guy for the marijuana discussion on Nancy Grace. He's going to be on the Nancy Grace show tonight.
Well, Colorado has run out of pot.
There she is. So we're going to go to Nancy Grace after the break. We'll show his last appearance on Nancy Grace and get you ready for tonight's appearance. Stay tuned. You're listening to the Russ Belville Show's Toker Talk Radio.
We'll be right back after these messages from our 420 friendly sponsors. Support these advertisements because their ad money goes straight to the Russ Belville Show. You're tuned into the Russ Belville Show, the voice of the marijuana nation.
Cast your eyes up to the skies. What is it to live and die? Calculated stars and lights.
Let him bring in the beat. Adam Hand of Handmade Apparel produces quality custom designs for t-shirts, hats, and other apparel. Handmade Apparel is the official design shop for 420 Radio, The Russ Belville Show, Ganja John, and Cascadia Concentrates, among many clients who rely on Adam Hand for everything from short-run custom projects to full-run clothing lines. Adam's meticulous designs are individually crafted and screened in vibrant high-definition color.
Visit handmadeapparel.biz to browse the selection of handmade gear or to get a personal quote for your own designs. Handmade Apparel, a proud supporter of 420radio.org.
Let him bring in the beat.
Support the Russ Belville Show. Text the word Russ to 420-420 and connect with the National Cannabis Coalition. You can also send $10 to the Russ Belville Show right from your smartphone. That's Russ to 420-420.
In the afternoon, if I'm home, I smoke marijuana.
You're listening to Radical Russ on the Russ Belville Show.
Oh, marijuana. Yeah, yeah. Oh, I got my ganja.
You can get 420 Radio on the go with the TuneIn Radio app for all mobile platforms. Go to rad-r.us/420tunein or just click the TuneIn Radio icon below the live radio feed on 420radio.org.
Georgia. Hi, this is Willie Nelson, and I need your help. Our marijuana laws are terribly unfair, and they make criminals out of law-abiding citizens. Nearly 2,000 Americans are arrested every day on marijuana charges, and we are unfairly destroying the lives and careers of hundreds of thousands of people simply because they smoke marijuana. These are not criminals. They are average citizens like you, good neighbors who work hard, raise families, pay taxes, and contribute to their communities. And it's time we stopped arresting responsible marijuana smokers. We need your help to end marijuana prohibition once and for all. It's the fair thing to do.
For more information, contact NORML, the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws. Call toll-free 888-67-NORML or visit their website at norml.org.
When Mark Emery can be free to run his business and sell his seeds. It's just a plant, it's just a weed. Another victim of corporate greed. It's simply business. It's simply business. It's simply business, you know why they won't let us grow. It's simply business.
That's music for the Tall Brothers out of Vancouver, British Columbia. Simply Business. Welcome back. It's Toker Talk Radio here. We're live from Rolla J Studios in beautiful Potland, Oregon, hanging out with Brian the Red and hanging out with you in our chat room, in our live radio feed, and our Ustream video feed. So thanks for being a part of it. If you'd like to connect with 420 Radio, all sorts of ways to do it. There's a TuneIn Radio app you can use. There's Ustream app you can use. There's Shoutcast. More information available by going to 420radio.org. Take a look in the web players and the online players buttons. There'll be something there for everyone. All right, we were talking about headline news and Nancy Grace. People are in the chat room were asking what time that comes on. And we've got 5 o'clock Pacific time. It's on next. It's on right after this show. So I just told my DVR to record it. Also coming up tonight at 5 o'clock, here is Jorge Cervantes TV. You can check that out. 6 and 7, we got replays of these couple of hours. At 8 o'clock, we got a brand new Big Daddy Fink Funky Roller Rink. Big Daddy's telling me he needs to convert it. He sent it to me as MP4. I already converted it, my man. Got it in the ASF format. It's ready to go. But you can send me the converted one if you like. Want. Yeah, that'd be fine. But check out the Funky Roller Rink tonight at 8 p.m. Pacific time. 9 p.m. another replay of our first hour. And then what do we got at the late night tonight? I'm not exactly sure. I'll have to look forward here. You got the replay. Got the Big Daddy Fink. 9 o'clock replay. 10 o'clock you can catch. 10 o'clock we've got our Medical Marijuana Radio with Larry Love out of New Mexico. So check out the new episode of Medical Marijuana Radio. And then at 11 o'clock tonight, Drug Policy Facts with Doug McVeigh. So check that out. Great lineup tonight. Headline News is the station on my Comcast listings. It's station number 745 in high def. But I don't know where it might be on your DirecTV or your local lineup. Just look for CNN's Headline News. HLN is the channel. And let's see. Yeah, so Norm Kent, who is the... Sorry, Larry. I just set the signal to change the channels, but I sent it to Larry's DVR. So if he's upstairs and the TV's on, it just switched to Headline News. Sorry, man. But anyway,
the folly of technology.
Yeah, really. So Norm Kent is going to be on Headline News with Nancy Grace, and this, I think, is his third appearance on Nancy Grace. He was on earlier this month, January 7th, in a panel debate that was entitled "Nancy Debates Pot Users on Their High Horse." See? High horse, right? Because that's like we're high. See? That's funny. So let me play you some of this appearance so you can get an idea of what's coming up tonight with Norm Kent, the chairman of the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws, as he appears on Nancy Grace.
Because I guess the Colorado legislature, they're all high. They've got to be high on pot because they've legalized marijuana in the state of Colorado, and in about 28 hours they ran out of pot.
See, this is funny to me because the legislature didn't legalize marijuana, Nancy. The people did.
The people did, yeah. They voted it. Sorry.
Yeah. Sorry, baby.
We are taking your calls, but first I want to go back to Norm Kent, the president of the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws, and also with me, Brad Lamb, addiction specialist. Let's see both gentlemen at once, Liz. Brad Lamb is the founder of Breathe Life Healing Center and an author of multiple books. All right, Mr. Kent, I'm going to ask you a different question this time, see what I can get out of you. What do you make of the fact that marijuana is extremely addictive?
That is absolute nonsense. I can't believe you're disseminating such a lie to the American public. You know, Nancy, you're such an ardent advocate for victims' rights. Why not speak up for all those people for the past 4 decades, hundreds of thousands, millions of Americans that have been wrongfully arrested, unjustly prosecuted, illegally jailed, denied scholarships, all because they chose to smoke a joint or use cannabis responsibly. What a shame that you've been an advocate for unjustly prosecuting somebody for so long.
I just asked you what you make of marijuana being addicted. Okay, that was the only question.
I'm sorry,
okay,
what do you think of this lie?
Ooh, I think I hear something still in my ear. Ooh.
No, but look, here's the thing.
Brad, let's hear your response.
This fellow has all this crafted outrage to your question, Nancy. I want to know, like, what is he getting from this? What is your salary? Are you a lobbyist? Are you a pot addict?
What does it matter, his salary?
This is funny that the rehab person who benefits on courts sentencing people to become his clients is asking what the pot lawyer who's part of an all-volunteer organization is getting out of this. Love it.
What really is
Are you a lobbyist?
Reason
I am a
to
responsible
fight for the right to
cannabis
smoke
consumer,
pot?
and I do not apologize for
fair
it.
enough.
I am an
But that doesn't take away from the truth that pot
Norm,
is
are
addictive
you a
and pot
lobbyist?
hurts a lot of people.
Are you a lobbyist,
No, I am
Norm?
not. No, I am not. I am an activist who was a cancer survivor that used cannabis to fight the effects of chemotherapy, and like many of my friends and clients, have used it responsibly for decades.
Okay, whoa,
and I do not apologize for it at
Uh-oh.
all.
The cow's out of the barn. Let's go back to Brad.
And she's hosting a show.
Like I mentioned earlier, whenever I ask a pothead, why do you want pot
use the word
legalized?
pothead.
They start talking. I was not referring to you. They start
Wait,
talking.
what? You were just asking him questions, not referring to you.
Said, whenever I ask a pothead.
BS. All right.
About medicinal marijuana. But that's not what we're talking about. It is addictive,
Look,
Brad.
I think it's heartbreaking that we're sitting here having the conversation about passionate people fighting for the right to help people stay sick. I'm all for medicinal marijuana, and I actually am against a lot of the prohibition that's putting people in jail instead of helping them get treatment. But pot is addictive. A lot of people's lives are ruined because of it, and to say that it's not is just a lie.
Well, here's another question,
and
I'm going
addictive is so
Norm,
wrong.
we're
I can't
moving
believe you
on.
said do.
we're moving on to another question. Here's my question, Norm. According to the Department of Health, 39%, that's nearly 40% of drug-related emergency calls have to do with pot.
You know, Nancy, that's not true. I don't know where you got that fact or statistic from. I would love to
US
see
Department
it documented. Yeah, I'd like to see that. I'd like to know. I'd like to know whether or not those people. You know, there are people that go to the emergency room. No, they go to the emergency room because they were in car accidents, but we didn't abandon the thought of having vehicles in our society, even though 50,000 people are killed a year in a car.
You're not even making any
sense.
You're talking out of your head now.
No,
jump in, Brad.
I'm talking logically and intelligently.
Well, the trouble with pot is if it's no big deal for you, it's no big deal. And then what about for the hundreds of thousands of people whose lives are terribly upset, are completely ruined, are completely thrown off track because of their relationship with pot, Norm? So for you to stand and advocate or sit and advocate that it's no big deal,
that doesn't mean everybody else should have their freedoms restricted.
No, but I will tell you
of the population.
Okay, guys, Brad Lamb, I always I get very suspicious when people refuse to answer a question outright. Questions that are very, very simple, and duck and dodge and jump on another bandwagon like medicinal marijuana, like alcohol, like why don't we outlaw cars, instead of answering the question. That's very, very suspicious to me.
Yeah. So that's the kind of thing you're going to hear on the Nancy Grace Show tonight with Norm Kent, who'll do, once again, he'll do a fabulous job in that kind of circus. So we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll close up the show, get you ready for a look at tomorrow's show, where we hope to have Danny Danko joining us in the Cultivator's Corner, and with a look forward to the High Times Cannabis Cup in San Bernardino, just taking place in a couple of weeks from now. You're listening to Toker Talk Radio. Stick around.
We'll be right back after these messages from our 420 friendly sponsors. Support these advertisers because their ad money goes straight to the Russ Belville Show. You're tuned into the Russ Belville Show, the voice of the marijuana nation.
Marijuana and alcohol are the two most popular recreational drugs in America. Marijuana smoking is non-toxic, relatively safe, and has a low risk of dependence. Alcohol drinking is potentially fatal, dangerous to society, and is quite addictive. Marijuana is safer, so why are we driving people to drink? That's the question of the new book, Marijuana is Safer, So Why Are We Driving People to Drink? By Paul Armentano, Mason Tvert, and Steve Fox. Visit Amazon.com or ChelseaGreen.com today to order your copy of Marijuana is Safer, or visit MarijuanaIsSafer.com. .420 Radio is 24-hour marijuana legalization radio. Check out our morning lineup every weekday at 7 a.m. Pacific Time, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. On Mondays, it's Drug Truth Network Century of Lies with Dean Becker from Houston, Texas. On Tuesdays, Electric Bob's Boogaloo with Electric Bob from Scottsdale, Arizona. On Wednesdays, Medical Marijuana Radio with Larry Love from Santa Fe, New Mexico. On Thursdays, a cannabis broadcast with John K. and Scott W. from Prince Albert, Saskatchewan, Canada. And on Fridays, All the Hypocrisy with Jimmy Reefer Cake and Polly Madman from Maine. That's 7 a.m. Pacific Time, 10 a.m. Eastern Time, and 3 p.m. GMT, right here on 420radio.org.
Are you or is someone you know a marijuana smoker? Have you or has someone in your family been arrested for a marijuana violation? You need to know the truth about pot. NORML, the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws, is the most comprehensive source of information regarding marijuana and its effects on health, as well as legal issues. NORML even offers a database of lawyers specializing in cannabis in your area. NORML, the nation's largest and most successful marijuana law reform organization, has spent decades gathering the knowledge and science on everything related to cannabis. NORML is the best resource to find out the truth about marijuana, connect with a lawyer in your area, or help find an end to prohibition. Information is available at norml.org, that's NORML.org, or toll free at 888-67-NORML.
Marijuana, marijuana, it reminds me of a Cheech and Chong story. Smoking weed because I got I'm smoking the reefer like a hip-hop star. Oh, marijuana, marijuana, 'cause you know that we be smoking now. Smoking weed with my man cow. Smoke out Los Marihuanos.
Oh, that's Pony Boy from Los Marihuanos with a little acapella. Marijuana. Welcome back. We just got a few minutes here closing out the show, but want to remind you, on tomorrow's show, we've got Danny Danko in our Cultivators Corner, also giving us a preview of the upcoming Cannabis Cup in San Bernardino, and we'll have our Fan Friday trivia contest. We're giving away the first anniversary edition of High Times magazine from 1975. It's the summer edition. I don't have it handy here, but it's a great issue. We will send that out to you by priority mail if you have the correct answer. Oh, there it is. If you have the correct answer in our trivia question, we just have you email in the correct answer, and from all the emails we receive with the correct answer, we randomly select one of you to be a winner of this 1975 High Times magazine. And it's a lot of fun reading through these old High Times, and you see some of the old for smoking nuts, the Peter pipes, the penis-shaped pipe. That's a nice little ad there. The trans high market quotations to get yourself some domestic weed in the New York area for regular Mexican, $15 an ounce. 1975. All sorts of great stuff in here. If you're a big fan of the history of marijuana, this is something you want to be a part of. Check it out. I love this one here. The Things Go Better with Coke. Coke spoon, razor blade, accessory kit. So a lot of cocaine stuff.
Yeah, this is a great ad here.
And then the old normal ad, I love this one. Enough people were arrested for marijuana in 1973 to empty the whole city of St. Paul, Minnesota. For the old normal ad there. So yeah, check it out on Friday, our trivia contest, and you could be a winner. All right. Also, want to give a shout out to our friends out there in Georgia who are working so hard to get marijuana legalized out there. The great news that they gave us yesterday, 62% for decriminalization in the state of Georgia. Things are changing so fast, people, and we will be here with you on 420 Radio to cover it all. Like I said, we're doing all of the Cannabis Cups this year in the United States. So we will be in San Bernardino in February. We'll be in Denver in April. We'll be in Richmond, California in June. We'll be in Seattle in September for the 4 U.S. Cannabis Cups. We'll also be covering the Seattle Hemp Fest, the Boston Freedom Rally, the Global Cannabis March. We'll be at the Texas Regional Normal Conference this year in June as well. Cover the Aspen Legal Seminar. We'll cover all sorts of events, every event we can. If you've got an event you'd like us to come to and cover, send me an email. Just go to our contact page at 420radio.org/contact. Baked Baker wants to know, who does the song Marijuana? That's the Nikki Amini, A-M-I-N-I. Nikki Amini featuring Afro Man with Marijuana is the name of the song. That's all the time we got for today. Thanks for joining us. It's been a lot of fun. Jorge Cervantes is next at 5 p.m. Pacific. We got Big Daddy Fink's Funky Roller Rink Disco Edition coming up tonight at 8 p.m. Pacific. Check that out. For Brian the Red and everyone here at 420 Radio, thanks for joining us. I'm Radical Russ. Until next time, take care of each other, Tokers.
This is the Russ Belville Show. The Russ Belville Show is blogging and podcasting daily at radicalruss.com.
You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it. You take a seed, you